Okay, let's do this. I guess Dan, where's Dan right now? Is he,
I'm here.
Okay, Dan, do you want to start taking some questions? Do we have any questions?
We do. Yeah, we do have a few questions. And actually what I'll do is I'm going to go in reverse order from timeline, because we had some questions all the way back in the beginning and some here recent. But to start with that, I would say if any of the panelists shared any information like Tia showed, I think her VA document and stuff like that, if you will get that to me, I will make sure that I package all that up and send a Dropbox link out to everybody that registered so that you have access. So if you have any recommendations from an attendee, or if you were a panelist and you shared something, email that to me. I'll get it over in a pretty bow and send it out to everybody. That being said, let's talk about marketing and websites, because a few questions came in regarding that. So does anybody have any recommendations regarding either website development, SEO, AdWords, et cetera, et cetera?
There's a few NARPM affiliates out there that I know are at, the conventions and so on, that have, many of us on the panel, or many of us participating, listening, have used and still use. And that's what I would recommend, Daniel. If someone's looking to up their SEO, look at the NARPM affiliates and see, and get references from NARPM members. I wouldn't even necessarily ask them for it, but just put it out there as a question. Who's using this company, and what's your feedback? Because I think that's better than, companies give you references, but they're probably going to give you somebody that, would give them a good reference. So it's good to, like what Tia said about what VA companies does everybody use and what's the pros and cons.
Okay.
I think a good thing, Daniel, is if some of these people on the call today are not members of maybe the different property management areas, like on Facebook, there's so many. All you have to do is put a question in there and you will get a ton of answers, as Tia alluded to earlier about a VA. Everybody is so willing to share. So I definitely try that. There's a lot out there.
All right. Mario, this is specifically for you. Someone asked a little bit more information about those portable ACs. Again, can you just run down the model, purchase price, and whatnot?
I don't have the model number, but it's a stand-up unit. So it's a large stand-up unit. It ports out like a window. We recommend between 12 and 14,000 BTU, and you can pick them up under $400. So Home Depot has them, Lowe's has them, but we don't do the window units. You put in the window, it's a stand-up unit. It's got 4 little wheels on the bottom of it. And they're pretty simple.
Okay. And just out of reference, can that be expected to cover a room, the whole house? What can someone?
Yeah, really one room. And they say between 8,000 to 14,000 BTUs for the room, depending upon the size. So we just go kind of on the higher side, so it can cool off relatively quickly.
So another question just came in regarding that, asking about drain lines. To my understanding, there is not a drain line for the portable. It's self-contained, to which you then drain later.
Yeah, sometimes there's 2 different functions. Sometimes they have a cool function, and other times they have almost like a dehumidify or a dry function. So if it's just a cool function, it's just cooling off the air. It really doesn't do a whole lot for condensation. But some of them do have a drain line, and we just set them up on a box. You recommend they set them up on a box or something, and then drain it into a bucket. It's pretty simple.
Awesome. This is more operations for phone systems. Someone wanted to know, have you guys converted completely to cell phone usage, or do you still have a conventional phone system or voice over IP? What type of phone systems are you guys currently using?
Voice over IP.
We use a voice over IP as well, with an app on the cell phone. So they can call from their cell phone through the app, and it looks like they're at the office, and their personal cell phone number is not revealed.
Yep.
And the calls are still recorded if we need.
We do the same thing. We have voice over IP, and we use Ring Central, which also has the app and has conference functions and all those things, texting and whatever. It's great. Had it for, probably 5 years.
All right. This question came in when we were talking about maintenance, and you may or may not know, and every state is a little bit different, but I think I understand the question. So if you're overseeing a project that exceeds $5,000, the term as far as general contractor may come into play. Do you guys have any recommendations or experience as far as when you as a property manager can oversee a project that either does or does not exceed 5,000, or do you have a rule of thumb that when it exceeds 5,000, a general contractor must be used?
We use a GC, but we will give them photos or videos of what's going on, but we do not oversee it.
Same, GC.
Okay. All right. Done with that one. Harry, moratorium, what is the official date to send 3-day letters as far as to commence the eviction process?
I knew that was coming. It happens at every expert panel.
Oh, yeah.
You know, I'll tell you real fast. Okay, we got August 1st, hopefully. We got July 25th for covered properties, but don't worry about that right now. Go to the website and look at that stuff, or stick to questions for the experts.
You got it. Well, the rest are all relative to COVID. So, well, this one's kind of important. And so if someone happened to charge a late fee when they shouldn't have, should they refund it?
I think you're asking me that question.
No, I'm asking the panelists, not asking you.
Yes.
Say 100%.
100%.
Yep.
Change your property management company name, run for the hills.
Don't worry
Play it
about it. It's
risky and
not
wait
going to
for
be
the
that. It's
AG
not going to
office
be
just to
bad.
call you.
All right. Liz, I think you mentioned earlier you were going back and doing some research about covered and non-covered properties. This came up actually in my own personal business here. Is that a data field that you're now collecting at the onboarding process, or is that something you feel like this is probably one and done and it's really not that important?
That is a great question, and I hadn't even thought about adding that to our onboarding. Right now, we're just doing it at a case-by-case scenario when we have a situation we need to deal with and we need to know which direction we're going. So we're just doing case-by-case, but it might be something to consider adding to onboarding. That's a great point.
All right. Question just came in regarding purchasing other property management companies. The question specifically says, what is a reasonable amount when buying an account from another company? I feel like that's probably very ambiguous, but from those that have purchased accounts, do you have a rule of thumb that you try to use when purchasing other accounts?
I do. I can.
Okay.
Like a typical rule, and nothing is typical anymore. It depends on the accounts, and do they have one owner that has like 50% of their company? How do they manage them? Are they managed by a mom and pop? Are they managed by a company? It just, there's many factors. But kind of a down and dirty rule I use is 1.5 times net and 3 times gross.
All right. Well, that is all of the live questions at this time. Would any of the panelists want to throw out a few closing remarks or anything else that's burning on your heart?
Just everyone, please be careful. I know Harry has alluded to it. This is a very litigious business, and especially the time that we're in right now. Be very careful. If you don't know what you're doing, get out there and learn. Join NARPM. Join a committee at your board of realtors. Know what you're doing. I wouldn't go be a dentist right now or doing, you know what I mean? I'm not going to go sell an industrial building. I don't know what to do, even though I'm a realtor. So I just be careful. Stay in your lane. Know what you're doing.
I agree with Kim, and don't hesitate to use your NARPM resources. Don't be afraid to ask the question, and don't be afraid to reach out if you know the answer. That's one of the things that keeps NARPM strong, is that communication back and forth with each other. So, you know, we got to be strong together. And I think through meetings like this and a lot of the other Zoom meetings that are being put on throughout the country, participate. I noticed we've got people outside of Florida all over this call. So I think that's awesome.
Yeah.
So people wanting to learn and share.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, if I could just add something that I see as a big problem, and you've kind of alluded to this. If you don't feel comfortable about doing it, the best thing you can do is say no. I see people who will ask me, they'll say, Harry, do you have a commercial lease? Do you have a commercial property management agreement? Or I have this small associations that I have an opportunity to manage. And I tell people, I say, look, the best thing you can do, and this is something that I learned 30 years ago when I used to take anything that walked in the door. And my life was pure hell back then because I was doing everything and doing it poorly. It takes more guts to say no. It's harder to say no. But in the long run, you're going to be far happier if you focus on what you know you're doing. If it's working, keep at it. If it's not working, get rid of it. But don't spread yourself too thin trying to take everything that comes along because you're getting desperate. It's the almost guaranteed way for failure.
Yeah, true.
Especially in a time of a crisis, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
To Kelly's point and Harry, to your point earlier, those folks that maybe sales agents that are on this call, though, still trying to figure out and pick the brains. I mean, to your point of not doing what's in your wheelhouse, I mean, it is very litigious out there. Form that professional relationship with a NARPM member in your area. And if you're worried about losing a sale next year, but you need to rent it for a year, don't do it. Hand it to that professional NARPM member, make that relationship. And when it's time to sell, they'll hand it back to you. Trust me, they want the repeat business as you in your industry, in the sales industry. Even if they do sales, they're not going to steal it from you. They're going to professionally manage it. They're going to put their best foot forward and help you keep your clientele. They want to build that relationship. So lean into NARPM, especially if you're a sales agent.
Right. Harry, I just saw a question about an update on the national convention for NARPM. Can I address that?
Sure.
Okay. So we are, and when I say we, I mean NARPM National, excuse me, OMG, the staff, are looking at and putting together a virtual element. We're calling it a hybrid right now, a hybrid conference. So there will be a live opportunity. At this point, this is where we are, a live opportunity to attend the conference. Registration is open, and registration is also open for the virtual part of the conference, and we are moving forward. We've invested quite a bit in making a virtual conference available, not just for the national convention, but for future conventions. We see this as an opportunity to elevate our organization to a point where we can reach property owners and property managers and reach members in a way that we have never been able to before. And so we took the plunge and made this investment in getting that together. And right now we're looking at a hybrid. We've got all the same speakers that all planned out and ready to go. Everyone's committed. So that's where we are today. Who knows what'll happen with the coronavirus between now and the last minute we can cancel. So we don't want to lose money on a cancellation if we don't have to, but we want to make sure we're aware of what's going on as well and keep everybody safe. The hotels and all that are very aware of how to socially distance us as a group, and that's what we'll have to abide by when we attend. I'm sure of it, unless there's some miracle cure that happens between now and October, which would be awesome. But that's where we are.
Thanks, Kelly. And keep your NARPM chapters going. I see so many chapters that have just stopped everything. Look, it's not rocket science to do what we did today. Now, Dan did marketing and we got the Zoom account and all that stuff. This is not rocket science. And I have like 20 people I got responses from when I posted on Property Management Mastermind of people from all around the United States that are willing to do these Zoom classes. Some of them charge the money, but it's very low. So don't let your NARPM chapter fall apart just because you can't have in-person meetings. Don't do it.
Yep. Absolutely. Well, with that segue, I'm going to just close with a few events that we have coming up here in Tampa Bay. So September 17th, the do's and don'ts of maintenance, and we expect that's going to be another virtual session. So we'll have more information on that. August, we're going to take a break, but in September, we'll have the event. October 8th, our local realtor board, GTAR, is going to have the Perfect Tenant. That will also be virtual. That is an all-day course that provides CEU credit, so you can go to their website. And then, as we just talked about, we have the National NARPM Convention starting on the 19th of October that everyone's getting excited about. So that's here in Florida and at Amelia Island. So with that being said, guys, thank you for saying yes to this again. Thank you again to all of our affiliates that are here. And of course, all of our attendees. We hope and pray that you got something out of it. I know I always do, just like Liz, she's taking notes. I have like 3 pages worth that I'm always trying to learn. That's obviously what makes us all better. So iron sharpens iron. So God bless, stay safe, and we look forward to having you guys around some more and hopefully seeing you October in North Florida.
Absolutely.